Gerald Celente is with us. Good morning, Gerald. How are you?
I'm well. Thanks for having me back.
Are you kidding? We couldn't wait to get you back here. This is our bit of spice in this show. Gerald is the author of TrendsJournal, which these are. I don't know. What do? You analyze the world and the trends. Is that accurate?
Well, current events form future trends. We're all doing what we're doing in life because of decisions that we made.
Okay.
And then there are the wild cards, so nobody can predict what's going to happen, but you can see get a good shot at it. Yeah. So what we do is we look at the current events that are forming future trends, but we look at them as political atheists. Just like when you go to a doctor, you get a diagnosis. You don't care, what nationality, creed, color, race. All you want is a diagnosis. But when people look at social events, geopolitical events, economic events, they put their own bias into it. So we don't. We just stay away from that. We just look at the facts.
Okay, and there's so many facts to look at, but do we want to look at something in particular today?
Whatever you guys want to talk about.
Do we want to talk about what's going on in the world with all this world activity?
I have to tell you that I've been at this since 1980.
Okay.
The last several days, I've been very sad about what's going on. Particularly what's going on in Israel and Gaza, and it's terrible, and it's pushed off the front pages because of the Malaysian airline crisis. And I'll tell you my first reaction when the Malaysian airline came down.
Yeah.
I said to myself, man, I hardly heard of this Malaysian airline before, and now 2 in a row. That was my first thought as I'm reading this thing off the wire. And then I see the propaganda coming out. Within seconds, they knew, we know who did it. We don't have any evidence, but we're going to make believe we do. And I'll tell you, it's them Russian separatists, and because of the Russians giving all those guys all that information and technology, they were able to do it. I'm a New Yorker, in case you couldn't tell by the accent. And then I remember when that flight 800 went out off Long Island, the TWA flight. Let's not rush to judgment. Hey, people saw missiles shooting at them. No rush to judgment, damn it. We're going to put a full investigation on, and we're going to get to the bottom of this. Hey, look how the story changed, man. What this is propaganda, and it never stops. It never stops in the prostitute media. It's disgusting what's going on out there. Whether it's the coverage of what's going on in Israel and Gaza, or with this hatred that they're building up for us against Russia. Now, you guys get the TrendsJournal from time to time.
Yeah.
And what we did is we showed how leading up to the Ukraine crisis, they had already started sowing the seeds. And they began it with the Winter Olympics at Sochi. Mm-hmm. Hey, they're killing them stray dogs. Don't drink the water. Look at all those homophobes out there. One day after another, negative reports coming in about the Olympics. Hey, you didn't see that about the World Cup in Brazil, did you?
No.
Now everything's great in those slums over there,
we don't look at it this way. You're right. It's a good thing we have Gerald out there.
Yeah. What do you think's driving the news media to do that?
It's agendas. It's who they are.
It's 24-hour news, isn't it?
It's 24-hour garbage.
They got to fill it.
It's garbage, and it's so slanted. We wrote in one of the Trends journals. I almost went. I declared bankruptcy. But, I used to be on Oprah, the Today Show, Good Morning America. It was on everybody. They used to fight to get me on the top trends of the new year. And then I started talking, they asked me what would happen with the war with Afghanistan. And I said, why are you asking me? Why don't you just ask Alexander the Great? Or you want to maybe ask the British? How about asking the Russians? It's going to be a disaster that's not going to have any end. And then you know what they started saying? You're either with us or you're with the terrorists. Remember that line?
Sure.
Yeah. That was by George Goebbels, Jr., better known as Little Slimy Ari Fleischer, who was the flack for Bush. And then you got this other guy, Carney, and another guy now, Ernest. I love it. Ernest, a great press spokesman. Yeah, Orwell had to make up that name. So what I'm saying is that's the current guy they just replaced now,
Right.
Carney. Carney, by the way, that's short for Carnival Man. Yes, they call him a carny at the carnival.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is they don't want to hear anything that's against the government agenda. And so when you came out, I came out against what would happen with Iraq. Gcelente did a whole op-ed piece for me. It went all over the country. A quick battlefield victory. Saddam Hussein will be overthrown, considering the size of America's military might. It'll devolve into a civil war, and Americans will leave after they've lost too many men, too much money, or the will to keep fighting. That was almost the end of my career.
Really?
So
Nobody wanted to have me on anymore. And then you got this Dick Cheney, or is it Penis Cheney? I keep getting him mixed up because I want to be proper. He's out there shooting his fat mouth off on all of the media right now. Everywhere you turn, here he is, the guy that lied us into the war, and the prostitutes suck up, bow down, and they take this stuff as though it's coming from a rational human being, rather than the psychopath that he is. Where are the war crime tribunals? They bust everybody's chops for jaywalking, speeding, this or that. They sent us to war under two lies, weapons of mass destruction and ties to Al-Qaeda. Who knew what when? So you ask about the media, how could they trot this guy out there? And one after another after him. Wolfowitz, every one of them coming out there defending the actions of the Iraq war, and no one calling them out. So you ask about the media, there's not a man or woman among them, and that's why I call them prostitutes.
Gerald, so we talk about the agendas. Do we have do we know what these agendas are? We see what they're doing. What is the ultimate agenda?
Well, you ask Eisenhower.
I can't. I don't have his.
Well, you know what he said.
I didn't even talk to him.
When he was leaving office, his farewell address, he warned the American people, 5-star general, supreme commander of the Allied forces during World War II, 2-term Republican president. He warns the American people that the military-industrial complex, his words, are robbing the nation of the genius of the scientists, the sweat of the laborers, and the future of the children. It's in front of everybody's eyes. Could you imagine if we spent these trillions of dollars in science, on technology and infrastructure and building the country rather than going into a war machine? So that's what the agenda is. And the other part of the agenda is you got a bunch of sick SOBs. What makes a psychopath, a sociopath, a sociopath? You know, these guys, I began my career, I was the assistant to the secretary of the New York State Senate. One of my chief writers in the magazine, the TrendsJournal, is Dr. Paul Craig Roberts, former assistant Treasury Secretary under Ronald Reagan. And everyone that wants to look at something, go to paulcraigroberts.org. I mean, this guy's been there, and so have I. You know who the guys are that are running the country and running your state? These are the same people you couldn't stand in high school and college that wanted to be class president and head of the student council. The suck-ups, the brown noses, the glad-handers, the overly ambitious, and the insincere. They followed their career path, and now they're telling us what to do.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just listening.
You're one of the few people. I don't say much. Just let him go. Just wind him up and let him go. Well, he's interesting for sure, and he makes you think. And
well,
if
you
pick
motto
up the
of the TrendsJournal, by the way, is think for yourself.
Yeah, pick up the
We don't tell anybody
Journal.
what to believe. These are the facts, and that's the way I like it. You look at it, you make your decision up. Don't tell me what to believe. I won't tell you what to believe. And the problem with these politicians are they all tell you what you should think and what you should do. You watch this guy Kerry when he rolls out. He points his finger and talks down to you like he knows everything. All these guys are born on third base and thought they hit a triple. Harvard, Princeton, Yale, bullets, bombs, and banks. That's their agenda.
I love this guy. Hey, you can get the TrendsJournal in print or digital, right? You can get
Yes,
it online.
you can.
Yeah.
TrendsJournal.com.
I love the print version. It's in my office right now looking at this thing. You guys are on point, man. And like you said, it does make you think. And that's probably one of the problems. We don't think enough. They tell you what you're thinking, but no, not you guys.
Well,
You
these
guys
are
let us
critical
think.
times.
Yeah.
These are critical times. I mean, I'm not the guy that said, now is the time for all brave men to come to the aid of their country. This thing is going down. You got a bunch of losers running the show. How can anybody believe them? You go up and down the list. Lindsey Graham, John McCain, Obama, Clinton. I've had enough of Clintons for the rest of my life. I never want to see them again. You want to know? We're doing a piece. Again, I'm a political atheist. I don't believe in any of this garbage. Yeah, to me, the Republicans and the Democrats are no different, and I'm not saying this sarcastically, than the Bloods and the Crips. They're both murderers and thieves. They've murdered millions of people around the world based on lies. Hey, remember Obama, the Nobel Peace Prize winner? You remember the mission into Libya? Yeah, the humanitarian mission. Or, as Carney, the carnival man, his spokesperson called it, a time-limited, scope-limited kinetic action. They destroyed the whole damn area, killed tens of thousands of people. They're murderers. I mentioned the Iraq War, the Afghan War, and thieves. They steal our money and give it to their buddies in the name of, hey, they're too big to fail. You're just a piece of crap. They're too big to fail. We'll steal your home. We'll repossess your car. We'll take every damn dime you have. But, hey, they're too big to fail. So
I got a
say
question.
they're the murderers and thieves,
Okay. Hold
just
on.
like the others.
Yeah, you have a question, Rich?
Yeah, I got a question. Gerald, where do you go? Where does one go to find a trustworthy news source? Is there such a thing?
I mentioned Dr. Paul Craig Roberts, paulcraigroberts.org. And what we do is we look at all the news. I mean, for instance, I go on, I'll today, China Daily,
Okay.
Global Times, Al Jazeera, Fars, which is Iranian, BBC, Blacklisted News, antiwar.com. I'll go over the whole spectrum. All I'm looking for is information. And then I decide, is this valid? Does it sound right? Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Is there any one news show on the networks or on cable worth looking at?
Yeah.
No.
Well, isn't Fox fair and unbalanced?
Oh, yeah, right.
Isn't that one?
Yeah.
And then
CNN,
they're all, yeah.
Good choice.
Yeah.
And then you look, by the way, at the entanglements between them. This one's married to that one who works for the State Department's married to this one. I mean, it's a revolving door. They're brown noses and suck-ups, as I said. There's not a man or woman among them.
I love this. We will have Gerald back on soon. Unfortunately, we're kind of short on time, but I want you guys to go to TrendsJournal and check it out. Like you said, he's not force-feeding it down your throat like he is here on the show. No, he's no, but it's there for you to make your own decision.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's it.
And you could hang on to your copy of it and look back and say, in a few years and say, oh, yeah, they were right about that, too. There's the trend. What is it about you guys?
The other thing to watch out about is the economy.
Okay.
When the interest rates go up, this economy goes down.
Okay.
That's the only thing that's keeping this thing afloat. Record low interest rates at a time. Nobody's ever seen anything like this. Over in Europe, they have what they call negative interest rates. Mm-hmm. You can't make this up. The Chinese government now, the debt to GDP is 250%. They're doing the same thing everywhere to keep the Ponzi scheme going.
You know what? Next time we talk, I want to talk solely on that. Well, not solely, but I do want to talk about that.
Sure.
Because
anything you guys want to talk about?
I would I'd love to hear your take on that because I have an opinion on that too, but I'm keeping quiet until I talk to you next.
Okay.
Gerald Celente again, TrendsJournal. It's really a place you got to go. Check it out.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks. Talk to you.
Bye-bye.
Oh, I got to take a break.
He ought to speak his mind.
thought I was
No, but he's you're different than him.